Welcome back to Athendor Gaming, everybody. This is Ultimate General Civil War, our Union campaign on normal difficulty. We just won the opening tutorial battle, and now we're going to get to mess around with our forces and customize our army a little bit. I'll try and keep this relatively brief, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go down here to our career tab. We have a career point to spend. This goes into a bunch of skills, which do a bunch of different things. They do things like economy here gives you extra discounts on buying things, medicine restores casualties, etc. I think for this one we're going to go politics, which gives you a bigger boost to your rewards for each win. If we click through here, we can see we captured some guns. Particularly, we captured some field artillery, especially this 10-pounder ordnance rifle is going to be really nice for us. But first, we got to do some things here. So each unit has a commander. This shows his rank. This is Lieutenant Colonel Loomis here. He's commanding a regiment of 187 men, which is pretty pathetically small. Then we have Major Woods here with his artillery battery of 4 guns. Captain Scales was killed in the last battle, if you remember, so we're going to have to replace him. And if we replace him with somebody who's too low of a rank, then the unit won't perform as well. So he needs to be a captain. We're going to take Captain Drayton here. And this is now Drayton's artillery battery. It automatically updates unless you rename the units. So we can also create a second division, which is probably pretty advisable for us at this point. So we're going to go ahead and do that. You can see our money up here and our men. So keep a close eye on these numbers because they're a real struggle at the start of the game. First things first, we're going to make an infantry brigade. Just standard rifles, standard general. It's pretty cheap because we captured all those guns. So we're using the captured guns. We're going to go ahead and create 2 of those. We're going to move Wood's battery over to 2nd Division, and we're going to keep Drayton's battery in 1st Division and get a 3rd Infantry Regiment. Now, I think we had captured some better guns here, but we don't have enough that we can buy, so we'll have to stick with the crappy basic ones. We're also going to take Drayton's battery up to 4 guns as well. And that is it. So as we improve our army organization skill here, we're going to be able to have more regiments in each division, more divisions in each corps, and eventually multiple corps. You can have tens and tens of thousands of men in this game at the highest levels. We're going to buy a bunch of supply. And I think we're all set. We need to reinforce Loomis. 187 men will not win us many battles. You'll notice that this is significantly more expensive because we're having to buy the guns, but also because we're choosing to reinforce him with veterans, which keeps your skills high. We're only going to be able to reinforce him up to that much with veterans, and after that we're going to use rookies. And we're actually out of men. So we can reinforce him 4 men, which we will do. So, as you can see, this is not an incredibly large army. I mean, these units can go up to as many as 1,500 men in them. But it's what we have to work with. So let's pick our next battle, shall we? There's captured messages. They seem to be pretty, formulaic. They don't seem to be of much help. So we have skirmishes, which are the smaller with no wreath symbols, and we have battles, which have a wreath. Generally, you want to do all the skirmishes before you do the battles to get more money, more men, and sometimes you can even get small bonuses for those battles. This shows us a little bit about what we know about the rebel army, how large, how well trained, and how well equipped they are. So we're going to do distress call. Your newly formed army is needed urgently for the protection of our supply station near Manassas Railroad Junction. We are evacuating the region, which is very supportive of the Confederates. Our supplies, arms, and ammunition must be secured. Let's do it. So here we're going to deploy I Corps, First Corps, in defense. We can see a quick little layout here, but it'll give us a better briefing when we're inside. Our supply depot is in danger of being overrun. The vanguard of your army has moved quickly to reinforce it. Confederate forces approach from the north. That's unusual. And from the east, along those two roads. And then our reinforcements will be approaching from the west here. So, really quickly, we have to decide what units to bring into the battle with us. Webb is fine. Loomis I'm going to hold in reserve since she's already damaged. And I think instead we'll bring out Stale. Or is that Stable? No, it's Stale. Alright. So you can notice there's other units already on the battlefield. Those are units that are part of different armies, but are just under our command for this battle. We don't need to worry about them so much, which means they are disposable. So we're going to move our brigades up here. We're going to move our skirmishers into a blocking position. Heavily fortified in those wood lines, they're going to be able to hold off much bigger forces for a little while at least. Looks like we have an infantry regiment here and here dug in. That's perfectly fine. The Confederates are coming up on us. I think we're going to go ahead and move Stale up there. We're going to have Welsh watch our right flank. And then Edwin and his cavalry, we're going to keep kind of in the middle here so they can quick react to the enemy coming up on either side. We're going to take our supplies and we're going to hide them back here. We're going to learn from last time. I also bet we're not going to lose our general instantaneously either. Although he can ride up kind of close to the front lines and command these skirmishers. We're going to get deeper into these woods. The skirmishers have the Sharps Model 1855. Their range is probably a little shorter than these infantry. So we want to kind of stay under cover and creep closer. There we go. As you can see, they dealt 18 kills against this unit because it's just in the open, where they've taken 10 after taking 4 volleys from almost like 18 times as many soldiers. Alright, everything else seems to be proceeding well. These guys are watching the road over here. Our skirmishers are doing their job, which is dying profitably, essentially. And then Edwin's cavalry over here. So these cavalry are also armed with carbines, which means they're essentially mounted skirmishers. They're not that great for melee combat. You have to be careful about thinking about what your cavalry is equipped with. Because if they are equipped with sabers and short muskets, they're not going to be very effective in this dismounted skirmisher role. Alright, they're telling us they spotted something. I thought I saw something flash on the radar down here, so we're going to send... Oh, okay. We're not going to send him down to check that out. Instead, we're going to have him hang out right there. We're going to move... Okay, so there's the rebel general. Generals tend to stick close to the middle of their army, which tells me that there's going to be some rebels up here in these woods any minute, I'm sure. Our skirmishers are just performing magnificently over here. You can see there's Law from the last battle. If you remember, Law's infantry regiment got away. Okay, so we just saw some artillery come from over here. And they've driven off our skirmishers there. We're going to move this infantry unit up a little bit. We're going to move our general back around. Ah, see, our cavalry has found those cannons. We're going to order them to mount up real quick. And contrary to what I just told you, we're going to have them charge those cannons. Even though they're mounted skirmishers, they're going to be able to do just fine against mounted up or running away artillerymen. Hopefully we can break them right here, and that will keep them from being an annoyance later on, as they could deal some serious damage to us if they're just left unchecked. We're going to move our skirmishers up here and see if we can't continue to fend off rebel forces in those woods. The rebels have kindly decided to run their general right into my forces. These skirmishers are doing a similar job over here, but they're going to do a worse job since these Confederates are in woods. Also, that artillery is going to just brutalize them. We may lose our cavalry here. I'm definitely willing to trade a cavalry brigade for a artillery brigade. Alright, skirmishers are now skirmishing. And actually, it looks like we won there, which is great news. Skirmishers are fending off those cavalry well. We're going to have our cavalry ride around behind these infantry regiments here and plop down in these woods and shoot them from behind with cover. As you can see, those cavalry just ran right into the front of that infantry regiment, and that has absolutely decimated them. They might have literally lost a tenth of their strength right there, which is what the term decimated means, if you did not know. It means to literally lose, in a literal sense, it means to lose 1/10 of all of your men. That is not how it is used. Yes, they've just tore into our cavalry right there. That was honestly a very bad situation for us. I'm going to move my general over here to get him to help. This infantry regiment charged straight down into us and has been run off summarily. We need to find these guys some cover. I'm not sure if the tents count as cover. Something tells me they almost certainly do not. They're going to try and charge us down, so we're going to wheel about, and they're going to run away. Yeah, we're just going to have to hold this copse of trees and hope for the best. General's doing well. Skirmishers are doing well. Cavalry's doing a good job. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to send them down into these guys right here. Oh, here comes some reinforcements. The rebels are too many, but your soldiers arrived just in time. Advance and secure the supply depots. Actually think we were holding pretty well. Part of that is going to be that we killed a lot of rebel regiments in the last battle. And that is going to mean that those regiments will not be present for this one. So we're going to send these guys over here, including... our artillery has arrived. Unfortunately, we did not get a chance to show off just how good artillery is to you guys in this one, but they'll have their day. Fear not. Fear not. I'm actually going to march this infantry regiment out of here. It's more valuable to me to hold them back further off while my reinforcements have time to march up. Now, I could run them, right? But if I run my reinforcements, they are going to arrive exhausted, and that severely affects their morale. It also means if they get charged, like just happened over here with Bartow and the skirmishers, that they're going to just melt. Exhausted units do not like to get charged. Tell them to go over there. Stable has just been tearing apart this guy this whole time. These skirmishers are determined to flank much wider than I wanted them to. This is a really bad situation. 3 rebel infantry regiments firing on me from multiple angles is not a recipe for success. We're going to tell Woods to run into position. We're going to have Edwin and his cavalrymen flank out wide, while these guys go around and flank from behind and try to push these guys back. Our infantry regiment here will hold for a little while, but not long. Especially because our general is here, that will help him stiffen a little bit and stay in the battle. These skirmishers just do not want to listen. I do hate how there's no option to turn off the AI for the skirmishers. They just are kind of determined that they are going to do what they think is the right thing to do, and everybody else's opinion doesn't really matter. It can be very frustrating at times. Luckily, in this moment, they're still kind of doing what they should be doing, which is skirmishing pretty effectively. These skirmishers are getting flanked by artillery right there. Now, we only have to hold out until our time runs out. This is very much a timed exercise, so if we're not able to go out there and kill off all of these rebel units, that's perfectly fine. We don't need to wipe out every single rebel infantry regiment. We just need to be able to hold. We're going to actually order these cavalry to go back and occupy that fort so nobody can move in while it's empty. So our infantry regiment seems to have things under control here. We want to keep pouring fire into these guys. See, they're trying to reform, but their morale is going to be weak. Now, they're probably going to be able to reform here. Yeah, you can see where they just did so. These skirmishers, go over there and engage them. I'm going to march this regiment up. We're going to have Richards here. March forward. Loomis is going to go ahead and take positions in here. Alright, as soon as they give fire onto these skirmishers, we're going to tell skirmishers to go away. Here it comes. Alright, skirmishers, get out of there. Go down there. Graham, march up, give fire there. Richards is going to come over here and try to engage these guys. We'll see if we can't get on his flank here. So as they charge into melee, these guys are just going to fire away at them. Alright, this is a problem. We're going to tell these guys to run over here and get between these guys and our cannons. This could be really bad, but if those cannons get some shots off, we're going to see the power of canister shot right here. Yep, perfect, perfect, perfect. As you can see, we were able to run those guys away. We're going to run these guys back over here. We're losing that fort. We can't lose the fort. Alright, we're a little long range for canister shot from these guys. Loomis is going to rout, but he'll be back. Alright. We seem to have things under control over here. So I'm going to swing Graham back around there and try to get onto Daniels here. Webb is doing great work right now. Yeah, Webb has really been killing it, if you'll forgive me the pun. I'm going to tell Richards to run. Loomis is still pulling back, but there we go. He reformed. We're going to rest him over here for a minute. We're going to tell Richards to charge in, drive Law out of here. Law is becoming a bit of a thorn in our side, I'd say. We're going to tell Woods to fire over there, while we have Drayton continue to fire on Walker, Webb fire on Daniel, and Graham fire on Daniel. Cavalry's holding it down over there. These skirmishers can probably advance up and try to shoot up their artillery a little bit. Be a good use for them. Woods is doing just fine. Woods can stay right where he's at. Ah, Stayhell is over here, who just spent that entire time shooting up that one rebel infantry regiment. I'm going to feel real silly if I watch this in post and it was one of those regiments that just walked down and around and caused so much trouble over here. So I'm going to be like, but I had a whole regiment over here. Alright, the cavalry is going to try to move in. We don't want that. We're going to occupy back these fortifications. Yeah, we've been able to drive them off pretty handily there. We're going to move Graham back to fill this gap. Loomis is over here. Richards is right here, supported by Webb. Our artillery took pretty heavy casualties there, and I'm not very happy about that. That was probably a mistake on my part, especially considering these guys are the more expensive 10-pounders. You really... Now, they only did lose 1 gun, as you can see, because they're 3 out of 4 guns. But they lost 41 men. Artillerymen are expensive, because they are expensive to train. You typically want veterans for your artillery. I'm gonna advise you to typically select veteran troops as your artillerymen, because experience on artillery just really multiplies its effect. It makes them so much better every time they gain an experience bar. So the skirmishers got blasted by that enemy artillery there. I don't really feel the need to go dig it out. I don't think it's worth the casualties to do so. And with 40 minutes left, it's likely that the rebels have kind of run out of steam at this point. We're going to tell our artillery to go and target Evans over here and just shell him. One of the things to think about in these battles is it's sometimes not worth going in. We're going to go up to double speed unless they come out and attack us again. But yes, sometimes it's just not worth going out and getting the enemy because of the amount of casualties you would suffer to do so. Like, I could definitely march forwards Woods and Graham and Loomis and probably beat these 2 rebel infantry regiments, but I don't have any cavalry to run them down and to destroy them. And the cost in men might be really hard for me to replace. If you remember, to form only 1 division, we ran out of all the men we got from our last mission. So you need to husband your resources pretty carefully when it comes to those sorts of things. Wasting men on attacks that don't need to happen or engaging the enemy when he's not trying to drive you off the objectives is a really bad idea. Alright, so this infantry regiment's coming up. They're going to try and rear flank us here, but I bet a couple rounds of artillery will probably drive them off. This is a great time to demonstrate the ability to detach skirmishers from an infantry regiment. As you can see right here, you can detach just some of your men. And I'm going to try and tease him over. He's not going to take the bait. You can detach some of your men into like a little working unit, essentially. And they will run after, they will go out and act as a skirmishing unit. They'll be armed with the same weapons as your regular infantry are, which is sometimes a good thing and sometimes a bad thing. Because skirmisher weapons can get much longer ranged. So he's trying to march those infantry around, so we're going to respond in kind. Spreading our lines with him, making sure that he cannot get around us. We don't want him to outflank. Alright. We could choose to continue at this point and hunt down the rest of the rebel units. But we don't need to. We've accomplished our objectives. We've held for the length of time. And again, is it worth the casualties? I'm going to say no. We're going to finish. So that was a victory for us. We came in with 5,500 infantry and 8 artillery cannon. Or guns. 8 guns. That's how that is said. 8 guns. And they came in 5,400 cavalry and 15 guns. So we were able to destroy that 1 artillery battery. That's really fortunate because those guys won't be coming back. Light cavalry casualties. And we did kill about half of their infantry for the loss of only 1,000. That's a pretty good victory. Most kills goes to Richards with 665. That's a nice day. Stale over there killed 586 for very light casualties in return. And Drayton's artillery battery, which only came on halfway through the battle, killed 219 men. Artillery is scary effective. Now Drayton, unfortunately, who took over Scales' battery in the last battle, after the last battle, was also just killed. And Major Woods here was promoted to Lieutenant Colonel for his actions. Colonel Edwin is wounded. He'll be back, but it'll take a couple of fights for us to get him back. We did capture a cannon. That's nice. We were able to get back our 10-pounder that we lost. That's even better. And we captured about 500 or so guns from the rebels. Not super relevant. I like to try and keep most of my men pretty homogenous. So here's what we won. We got a career point. That's the skills we'll be able to upgrade. We got some reputation. We'll talk about that in the next episode. 4,000 men. Very, very helpful. And $68,000, which we are not hurting for, but that does help as well. So, this has been episode 2. You sought to see a skirmish battle, us upgrade our soldiers a little bit. And in episode 3, we're going to fight the first battle of Bull Run. So I hope you choose to come back for that time. This is Athendor Gaming. Thanks for watching.